Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Oaklawn Park on Saturday is a good one. It's the Grade 2 $350,000 Azeri for fillies and mares going a mile and a 16th. It's carded as race number 9. Let's take a look at this field because there are two extremely accomplished ladies in this race. She Dares the Devil's the morning line favorite. You know her. She won the Kentucky Oaks a couple of years ago, and she won the Azeri last year off a longer layoff, and she beat Latruska that day. So the layoff isn't that much of a concern. Oh, and by the way, Mike, she just sold for $5 million at public auction.
Yeah, they brought her back to race, though. Good for them, being good sports to bring her back for another campaign. She's a real good horse, Dan. Maybe, not quite the top of the division, but she's really good and she's got speed.
She'll be tackling a field that includes last year's Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint winner, the number 5 CC, who's 3-1 on the morning line and does have the recency edge over She Dares the Devil. Although, Mike, there is a question about whether she's better going shorter.
Yeah, that is the main question of this race right now. They are going to try to stretch her out again. It's not like she can't do it, Dan. She won the Grade 1 Apple Blossom here a couple of years ago, but since that win, it's all of her success has come in shorter races.
Those two are far from being the only horses in this race. There is a strong supporting cast, and there should be a strong pace. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and the number 9 Super Quick's going to try to live up to her name, as she's done in her last 3 starts. All gate-to-wire wins, albeit against weaker company. But Lady Mystify is quick, and she's fresh speed as well. They're going to be going fast up front.
Yeah, there should be a solid pace in this race. It's not supposed to, whether they go fast or slow, Dan, it's not really supposed to affect either of the two favorites in here. She Dares the Devil doesn't mind being on the lead, but she doesn't have to be.
Just when you think the number 1 She's All Wolf has perhaps gone off form, she shows her fangs and bites you as she did last time out in the Bayakoa, a graded stakes race at Oaklawn Park. Now, we turn into the stretch. She had a great closer's trip, I thought, in this race. She was able to save ground, and She's All Wolf's going to come through along the inside and finish second to Miss Bigley, a horse that would flatter the form when coming back to run second in the Grade 1 Beholder with a 91 buyer.
Yeah, She's All Wolf ran fine in this race. She's only second best. She's going to complete a very big exacta, Dan, in a race where the 3 favorites were the last 3 horses across the line. But Miss Bigley's a pretty nice horse, and she would not be necessarily overmatched in this field. That was a good performance by She's All Wolf, and she'll be a price again.
And she's going to get some pace to run at. Folks looking for an alternative to the 2 favorites are likely going to flock to the number 2, Pauline's Pearl, a very lightly raced horse that's run well at Oaklawn Park in the past. She won the Grade 3 Fantasy in 2021. Let's watch her last race, the Houston Ladies Class, a graded stake at Sam Houston, and she just showed off her tactical speed in this race. She stayed relatively close to a fast pace. She makes her move on the turn. She grinds it out. This wasn't the strongest field in the world, although the 5th place horse did come back to win with a 93 buyer.
It was a pretty good place to start off as a 4-year-old for this horse, Dan. At the end of the day, yeah, she got a good trip. She wins this race very easily. It just feels like a pretty good starting off point for Asmussen and crew with this horse, who was, she was good as a 3-year-old. They tested her really once in the Kentucky Oaks, and that didn't work out. And they just sort of went the second half of the year, finding good spots for her, and she came through with a stakes win there at the end of November. She has to improve to beat this field, but she's supposed to be improving at this time of the year.
The number 3 Lavender has spent the majority of her career racing on turf, but the last time she went from turf to dirt, she did this at Remington Park on December the 10th. She was favored and supposed to win, but she runs away and hides from a field of entry-level allowance horses, earning an 82 buyer speed figure. This is a giant step up in class, though, moving back to the main track.
Yeah, it's a huge class test for her. She's not facing a field like the one that we're looking at her beat right now, Dan. She wins this race, obviously, very easily and impressively, but even if she runs that kind of a race here, she's going to get nothing.
Number 4, Ava's Grace, finished second to Pauline's Pearl last year at Oaklawn Park in the Grade 3 Fantasy, and then it just seemed like the connections had trouble getting her to the races. Her next start was on the turf against New York Breds, and she didn't run very well, and then she disappeared for a long time. Her most recent start was her first start off of a long layoff. I don't like that she came out with front bandages, and she tired after prompting a moderate pace. Connections are taking a shot. They're high percentage ones.
Yeah, they are taking a real shot in here. I'll just say, about her last race, she didn't, run great in there. Obviously, she got very tired through the stretch. That was a good field, man. That was a really, really strong allowance race. Those 1-2 finishers are both really nice horses. I think as evidenced by this horse going off at almost 15-1 in that race. I think she's going to run better in here. I don't necessarily think it's going to be good enough for her to come out on top.
CC got the trip in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, and it didn't hurt that the favorite Gamine underperformed in her final lifetime start. Now, she was the one that was the favorite in her seasonal debut. This race, the Santa Monica going 7/8 of a mile, and she just caught a killer. Baffert's Murnith ran a gigantic Beyer speed figure. CC tried to rally into these moderate fractions and couldn't sprint home. I was a little disappointed how tired she got at the end of this race, but boy, the horse on the lead really fired.
Yeah, the winner of this race just ran a very fast race, and CC tried hard in here. She's just no match late in this spot, and has to settle for second best. Listen, I don't really have any knocks on her. I don't think you can hold that loss against her last time. She won the Breeders' Cup last year. To me, one of those situations where just sort of everything sort of pointed you in her direction. With Gamine, clearly not being the same horse she was the year prior. But CC did what she had to do in there, and she won that race very easily. And we know that she can go this far, Dan. I mean, is this her best distance anymore? It's probably not, but she can get this far.
She certainly did when she won the Apple Blossom here in 2020 in game fashion. Lady mystifies one of the speeds in here for trainer Peter Urton, making her seasonal debut. She was no match for Pauline's Pearl the last time they faced off in the Zia Park Oaks. She got to the lead that day. Pauline's Pearl just ran her over.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. I mean, listen, she's another horse who's very lightly raced in here. So if nothing else, you're holding out hope that she could really start taking steps forward now as a 4-year-old. But not only does she have CC and She Dares the Devil to deal with, feels like she's kind of got Pauline's Pearl to deal with. As you say, she was no match last time.
She Dares the Devil won the Kentucky Oaks in 2020, and she won 4 graded stakes races last year, including the Azeri. Her final start, the Breeders' Cup Distaff, that was just an explosive pace up front. And of the pace horses, including favored Latruska, she did best of them all, She Dares the Devil. I thought she ran quite well, considering she ran 6th with only a 94 Beyer.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a little bit of an underrated performance at the Breeders' Cup the last time we saw her. Prior to that, she was just in really good form, Dan. She's got great tactical speed. She's not going to blow you away when you look at her on paper. She's 9 for 17 with multiple grade 1 wins. There aren't those big, flashy Beyer speed figures, but she's just a good horse.
Golden Curl is the number 8. This horse is a stakes winner on turf at Remington Park, but she tried Pauline's Pearl in the Houston Ladies Classic. We showed that replay earlier on, and she was just second best. She was part of a solid pace. She ran one of her best races, but she's going to have to do even better in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, she's just hard to take out of that race because all in all, she got a great trip in the Houston Ladies Classic. She sat right up. She was a little bit ahead of Pauline's Pearl and got the jump on that horse off the final turn. And she was just no match to the stretch.
Super Quick, the number 9, is all upside. She's won her last 3 races, 2 of them by wide margins, and she's going to be making her 4-year-old debut here. The problem is, what a spot to find a 4-year-old debut with She Dares the Devil, CC, and Pauline's Pearl. I just think she's got to be quarter horsed out of there to get away from post 9 and hope to make the lead.
Yeah, and there's other speed in the race, which sort of makes her test that much more difficult. I mean, boy, it's tempting to just want to look at her, Dan, and say, finally her last 3 starts as a 3-year-old, she started getting good, and now's the time when she's really supposed to be improving and take a step forward. She's got to take a big step forward in here, but it's far from impossible, and she's going to be a price.
This race is usually just a prep for the Apple Blossom. No prep here considering the quality of horses in the field. Let's take a look at our top selections. I agree with you. I think She Dares the Devil's the best horse in this race. And while the layoff isn't that much of a concern, sometimes these mares just don't come back. CC to me has the recency. She's going to get some pace. She's also proven over the track and will be a slightly better price.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're probably just the 2 horses to beat in here. I just slightly trusted She Dares the Devil a little bit more, so I put her on top. But, I don't think she had some kind of big edge over CC in here.
7542 for Mike, 5726 for me. It is the Azeri at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. Best of luck.